Hello students, in this lecture we will talk about Urisin lemma, which we will use in the proof of one very important theorem, that is Ritze extension theorem. And this lemma states that a topological space X is a normal space if and only if two disjoint closed subsets of X can be separated by a continuous function. So it means a topological space X is a normal space if and only if for any two disjoint closed subsets of X, that is A and B, and we take any closed interval 0, 1, then there exists a continuous function f from X set to closed interval 0, 1, such that f of A is equal to singleton 0 and f of B is equal to singleton 1. Now for the proof of this lemma, let second part is true and we will prove that X is a normal space. So for this, let A and B be two disjoint closed sets in X, and there is a closed interval 0, 1, and there exists a continuous function that is f from X to closed interval 0, 1, such that f of set A is equal to singleton 0 and f of set B is equal to singleton 1. Then we will prove that X is a normal space. Now for this, as we know that in the set of real numbers, every open interval is an open set. So we can take minus infinity to 1 by 2 and 1 by 2 to infinity are open sets in set of real numbers. And we know that closed interval 0, 1 is a subspace of set of real numbers. So here we can write as closed interval 0, 1 is a subspace of set of real numbers. Then from the open sets of the real numbers, we can find the open sets of closed interval 0, 1 by taking intersections of these open sets with closed interval 0, 1. So then we have open interval minus infinity to 1 by 2 intersection with closed interval 0, 1. So here we can see it is a real line minus infinity to infinity, and here it is 0 and 1, and it is a closed interval 0, 1, and we take 1 by 2 here. Then this intersection is closed with 0 and open with 1 by 2, and second interval is 1 by 2 to infinity intersection with closed interval 0, 1. So it is open with 1 by 2 and closed with 1. So these are open in closed interval 0, 1, and it is given that f is a continuous function. Since f is a continuous function, from set X to closed interval 0, 1, then pre-image of any open set in 0, 1 will be open in the set X also. Then we take inverse image of these open sets. It is closed with 0, open with 1 by 2, and second one is f inverse, open with 1 by 2 and closed with 1. So these are open in X. Now we got two open sets. Call these open sets, it is U and V. Then for the normality of X, it is enough to prove that so we have two disjoint closed sets in X. Then A is contained in U, B set is contained in V, and U intersection V is empty. Now to prove that A is contained in U, we take an arbitrary element of A, then f of A belongs to f of set A, and it is singleton 0. So we can write singleton 0 here, and it is equal to 0 only, which belongs to this interval. And from this we can write A belongs to F inverse of semi-closed interval, and it is U. So A belongs to set U, and A is the arbitrary element of set A. So here we can write A is contained in U. And similarly, B is also contained in set V, and we will prove that U intersection V is empty. So take U intersection V, it is F inverse of semi-closed interval intersection with F inverse of semi-open interval, and it is F inverse of intersection with this interval, and it is empty. So F inverse of phi, it is also phi because of the continuous function. So U intersection with V is equal to empty. Now we have two open sets here. These are disjoint open sets, and one is containing one closed set and other is containing other closed set. So it satisfies the condition of the normal spaces. So we can say that X is a normal space. Now for the converse part, let us take X is a normal space, then we will prove the second part. Now for the converse part, let X is a normal space, then to prove the second part, let A and B be two disjoint closed sets in X. Then we can write A intersection B is empty, which implies that A is contained in the B complement. So here, as B is closed, then B complement is an open set which is containing closed set A. So here we can use one result that we have done in the previous lectures, and this result is stated as X is a normal space if and only if for any closed set A and open set U such that A is contained in U, then there exists another open set V which is also containing set A, such that A is contained in V, V is contained in its closure, then it is contained in the open set U. So here we can apply this theorem as A is a closed set in X, which we denoted by G naught, and B complement, we denote this by G1, such that G naught is contained in G1. Then by the theorem, there exists another open set that is G1 by 2, such that G naught is contained in G1 by 2, which is contained in its closure and which is containing G1. And we know that G naught is a closed set and G1 by 2 is an open set, and closure of any set is closed, so it is closed and it is an open set. And again we have open set is containing closed set of X, as G naught is contained in G1 by 2, and closure of G1 by 2 is contained in G1, and X is a normal space. Then again apply this theorem. Then there exists open sets, that is G1 by 4 and G3 by 4, such that G naught is contained in G1 by 4, which is contained in its closure, which is contained in G1 by 2. Which is further contained in its closure, and it is contained in G3 by 4, then in its closure, then G1. So again we get two pairs of open sets and closed sets. It is closed set, open set, closed set, open set here, and closed set, open set, and closed set, open set here. So if we apply the again and closure of G1 by 2 is contained in G1 and X is a normal space, then again apply this theorem. Then there exist open sets, that is G1 by 4 and G3 by 4, such that G naught is contained in G1 by 4, which is contained in its closure, which is contained in G1 by 2. Which is further contained in its closure, and it is contained in G3 by 4, then in its closure, then G1. Now in this case, we get a pair of closed sets and open sets. In each pair, closed set is contained in the open set, that is G naught is contained in G1 by 4, and closure of G1 by 4 is contained in G1 by 2, and closure of G1 by 2 is contained in G3 by 4, and closure of G3 by 4 is contained in G1. So if we apply the same theorem on these pairs, then we will get a sequence of the closed sets and open sets. So here we can continue this process. And in this process, we will get a chain of the numbers, that is 0, 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 3 by 4, 3 by 8, and so on up to. So here we can define a set which is containing these numbers 1 by 4 and so on up to, or we can write it as m by 2 raised to power n, where m is equal to 1, 2 and so on up to, and n is equal to 1, 2 and so on up to. And this set is contained in the closed interval 0, 1. And D set is a countable set here. And if we take two elements from it, that is R and S from D, with R is less than S, then we get a chain of the pairs of the closed sets and open sets with G naught is contained in GR, which is containing closure of GR, which is containing GS, and it is further containing GS closure, which is containing G1. Now we define a function f from x set to closed interval 0, 1 as f of x is equal to, we take infimum of R numbers that belongs to D such that x belongs to GR if x belongs to G1 set and it is 1 if x does not belongs to G1. Now from the definition of the function, if x belongs to G1, then this infimum can be written as so if we take infimum of R belongs to D and x belongs to GR, then in that case infimum value will be f of x. So f of x is less than equal to R if and only if x belongs to GR. Now if x belongs to set B, then it will not be in B complement, and B complement is G1 here. So if x does not belongs to G1, our function is 1. So then we can write f of set B is a singleton 1. And if we take x belongs to A, here A is a G naught, so x belongs to G naught, and we know that if x belongs to G naught, then f of x less than equal to 0, which implies that f of x is less than equal to 0. But f of x lies between 0 and 1, so it will be 0 only. So it is true for all x belongs to A. So then we can write f of A is singleton 0. Now it is enough to prove that f is a continuous function. F is a continuous function. Now to prove the continuity, if we take an open set in 0, 1, then we take its inverse image of that open set, then we will prove that this inverse image also open in X. So let us take an open set. CD in 0, 1, then we will prove that F inverse of CD is open in X. So for this, let an arbitrary element of F inverse of CD, which implies that f of x belongs to CD interval. So here we can write C less than f of x less than CD, and CD is in 0, 1. So here we can write 0 less than C less than f of x less than D less than 1. And here we can find any PQ point belongs to set D. D set is this, which is a countable set, such that 0 less than C less than P less than f of x less than Q, which is less than D and less than 1. Now if P belongs to D and f of x is greater than P, where it is. Now from here we can write f of x is not less than equal to P. Now if f of x is not less than equal to P, then it will not belongs to GP, which implies that x does not belongs to GP. Now further, if we take C less than P, then from this, if we take RS belongs to D with R less than S, then closure of GR is containing GS. So here also we can write closure of GC is containing GP. Now if X does not belongs to GP, then it will not be in GC closure, which implies that X does not belongs to GC closure. Then it will be in the complement of it. Now similarly, if we take any Q point from D with f of x less than Q, then we have from the definition of this, f of x less than equal to R if and only if x belongs to GR, then in that case x belongs to GQ. So let us call this 1 and 2. So from 1 and 2 we get x belongs to GQ but not in GC closure, or we can write X belongs to GQ intersection with GC closure complement. And here X is an arbitrary element of F inverse of CD. So here we can say F inverse of CD interval is contained in GQ intersection of closure of GC complement. Now we will prove that this intersection is also contained in F inverse of interval CD. So for this, let us take an arbitrary element of GQ intersection of GC closure complement, which implies that X belongs to GQ and X belongs to GC closure complement. So here we have X belongs to GQ. If X belongs to GQ, which implies that f of X less than equal to Q. And if X belongs to complement of GC closure, then it will be in not be in GC closure, which further implies X will not be in GC, which implies that f of X is greater than C. Or we can write C less than f of X. And we know that C is less than P, so here we can write C less than P less than f of X. Now we have P less than f of X less than equal to Q, which implies that f of X belongs to open interval CD, which further implies that X belongs to F inverse of interval CD. Now it is a arbitrary element of this intersection, so we can say that GQ intersection of GC closure complement is contained in F inverse of CD, and we call this as a third equation and fourth equation. So from equation third and fourth, we have F inverse of interval CD is equal to GQ intersection with GC closure complement. As GQ and GC closure complement both are open sets, GQ and, because closure of any set is closed, and if we take complement of it, it is open. So these are open sets in X, then their intersection is also open. Which implies that F inverse of intervals CD is open in X. So we can say that F is a continuous function. From the text to close interval 0, 1. So here we can say that X is a normal space if and only if two disjoint closed subsets of X can be separated by a continuous function. So that's it. Thank you.